Hey everyone, so now we are going to continue with functions, operations on functions, and today we're really going to focus on evaluating. Alright, so here's some review. I want you to factor. So remember, our methods of factoring are GCF, MC chart, and dots. Alright, we got to keep those skills strong. Alright, so pause the video and try these. So number one's an MC chart. We know that because there's 3 terms. We are multiplying to the negative 24 and combining to 10. So what multiplies to 24? 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Since we're multiplying to a negative, we need a negative. Since you're combining to a positive, the smaller one is negative. And then when we combine, you get negative 2 and 12, not the 4 and the 6. So if you have 4 and 6, remember, one of those has to be negative. Those do not combine to 10, they combine to 2. So minus 2 plus 12. The second one, that's a GCF. We know that because there's x's everywhere, and also we can divide by 10, right? So 10x and 10x is our GCF. When we divide, we get x plus 3. 10's cancel, the x's cancel, parentheses, GCF on the outside. And the last one is dots. That's the difference of perfect squares. This is a perfect square, and this is a perfect square, right? Well, what's the square root of 9x squared? 3x, right? 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 7 times 7 is 49. One's a plus, one's a minus. Done. Okay, so we did talk about this, but we just never took notes on it. So I want to make sure we have notes. How do you evaluate a function? Evaluating is just replacing, substituting a number. It doesn't even have to be a number. It could be an expression. So a number or expression. It's really just a substitution. It's just a little nicer the way it's phrased. So when I show you the notation, it's a little just easier notation than past substitutions that we've done. So instead of saying our equation is x cubed minus 3x plus 11, evaluate at x equals 2, all they have to do is say find f of 2, right? F of 2, you're replacing your x with the 2. So x cubed minus 3x plus 11, I'm replacing my x's with 2's. And then just calculate. And you can just plug that in your calculator. 2 to the third is 8, minus 6 plus 11 is 13. So the answer is 13. So why don't you pause and try 2, 3, and 4. I know 3 and 4 are a little weirder, but you can do it. Negative 1 to the third minus 3 times negative 1 plus 11. Again, I do recommend just plugging that in your calculator. I don't have mine with me, so I'm going to do it out. I get 13 again? I do. I get 13 again. That's funny. All right, f of a. Now, this is a little weird, right? We haven't done one like this. So, just like all the other problems, I'm writing out my parentheses. And then what goes in the parentheses? A. Well, can we do anything here? Nope. A to the third is just a cubed. 3 times a is 3a plus 11. So notice the only difference between f of a is the variable. F of a is the same thing as f of x. We're just going to, instead of having x's in the problem, we have a's in the problem. And the inside actually tells you what's your variable. All right, 4 is a little harder though. So let's take a minute with that one. Again, I'm going to start with my parentheses. Cubed. So 2n and 2n. Now this one's a little harder because what is 2n to the third? Let's go over here. 2n parentheses to the third is 2n times 2n times 2n. What does that equal? That is 8n cubed, right? 2 times 2 times 2, and n times n times n. We add our exponents and get 3. Minus, what does this give us? 6n plus 11. So that one is a little harder, so you got to pay attention to what you're doing there. Don't make any, to avoid mistakes. Parentheses everywhere. Okay, now try number 5 and 6, and then try to substitute in for number 7, and then pause. Well, don't do the whole thing. I don't want you doing a bunch of wrong work. All right, so number 5, this time I have x squared minus 7x minus 14, parentheses, everywhere I have an x, and I'm going to plug in -2. And again, use your calculator. -2 squared is a +4. Make sure, when you use your calculator, parentheses, otherwise it'll do it wrong. Plus 14 minus 14, that's just going to be 4. 3x, again, parentheses squared. Oh, I wrote it wrong. That's a plus. That's a minus. So that's -24. Whoopsies. If you had it right and you erased your answer, I do make mistakes. 7x minus 14. So instead of x, we're going to put in 3x. What is 3x squared? 3 squared is 9, x squared is x squared, plus 21x minus 14. This is our answer. So we're plugging in a variable, so there are variables in our answer. We're plugging in just a number, there is just a number in our answer. So in 7, we're plugging in an x. We're going to have an x in our answer, so expect that. So again, I'm going to start with my parentheses squared, plus 7 parentheses, minus 14. What goes in the parentheses? X minus 4. Now, x minus 4 squared. I'm still seeing mistakes on this. X minus 4 squared is x minus 4 times x minus 4. That's a double distributing. So we have x times x minus 4 minus 4 times x minus 4. All right, so now if you didn't go this far, I did tell you to pause. I want you to pause now and finish this problem, combine like terms. So we have x squared minus 4x, and then here minus 4x plus 16. I'm going to bring this guy down. I have to distribute here. So 7x minus 28, and then I've got my minus 14 at the end. All right, let's see. I have my x squared, and then we have minus 4x plus 7x. That gives us a minus x, right? -4 gives us -8. And then we have 16, -28, and -14. That gives us minus 26. So this is our final answer. Okay, what does f of b mean? That's another thing we talked about in class, but I wanted to make sure we wrote it down. F of a equals b, right? The a is your x value, and the b is your y value. So it means the point AB is on the function. So if I have f of 7 equals 3, that means on that equation, 7, 3 is on the equation. Okay? 7, 3 is on the equation. It could be a graph, it could be just a line, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're going to evaluate, but we're going to use a picture. So remember, the inside f of, this is your x value. So we're going to go to the x value -2, and this is asking what's the y value that goes along with it. So I start at 0, I go to -2, and then I go to where the graph is. I'm right here. What's that y value? 1. That's it. F of 1, right? I'm going to go to the 1, and then I'm going to go down to where the graph is. That's at -3. Erase all that. All right, so now you try f of 3 on your own. So f of 3, I go over to 3, and I go down to where the graph is. I don't know, is that exactly... I'm going to put -1, but yeah, it's a -1. Looks slightly off, but... Okay, so now for what values of x does f equals 2? So now this is what? That's not the x value. We're looking for the y value, right? So at the y value 2, right? So here's 2, and I go over to where my graph is. What's the x value that goes with that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So because the point 4, 2 is on the graph. So now you try -3. So I'm going down to -3, 1, 2, 3. And then I go over, and look, so what's that x value? That's a 1. But wait, there's more. If you notice, there's more answers. Look, this is the x value, -3. We've got this point, but we also have this point and this point. We can't completely ignore them. So I'm just going to estimate them. You know what? This is a slope of a third, so it's going to be a third. So this is -1 1/3. And 2 and 1. Is this also a 3? This is also a slope of 3. I'm okay with you just estimating, but it looks to be it's about a third. Right? You could do -1.3 if you want, 2.3. But that's what it appears to be. On like a test or a quiz, I'll make sure to put an exact answer. Okay? All right. Let's see. And then last I want to do of multiplying, because I'm seeing a lot of mistakes with problems where we have to multiply out and there's more than 2 things. So we always take 2 at a time, right? So pick which 2. So I'm going to start with these 2. I'm going to ignore my 5. So x plus 7 minus 3x plus 7. So go through and multiply those out and simplify. Distribute x squared plus 7x minus 3x minus 21. And then I'm going to combine like terms. So that's the red. But now I have to put 5 in the problem. So I'm going to do 5 times that trinomial that I just solved for. And I get 5x squared plus 20x minus 105. All right, so just distribute through. And that's our answer. Number 4, same idea. You're going to pick 2 to start with. I always just do the first 2. It doesn't actually matter, though. So I want you to distribute out those 2, and then we're going to work x plus 4 back into the problem. So I have x times x minus 3 plus 8 times x minus 3. We're going to distribute that out and simplify. X squared minus 3x plus 8x minus 24. Right, so I was just distributing through. Combine the middle 2. So we get x squared plus 5x minus 24. Now we're going to take that and multiply by x plus 4, right? So I'm replacing my green with this times that x plus 4. So now we're going to do these 2. Now, I always think of it as in the front. I don't want to write out 3 times x squared. You could do x squared times x plus 2, 5x, x plus 2, negative 20x, 24x plus 2. I think it's easier to just break up the x and the 2. So I'm going to do x times my trinomial and then 2 times my trinomial. So it's just another double distributing. Just a little bit more work. These are a little harder, but take your time with it. So I distribute x cubed, 5x squared minus 24. Now if you want, what I have done is I'll line these up as I go through. That's 2x squared. 2x squared is going to go underneath the 5x squared. 10x. Oops, I had a mistake. That has an x with it. That goes underneath the 24x. And then 2 and negative 24 is negative 48. So then we combine like terms, and we get x cubed plus 7x squared minus 14x minus 48, and that's our final answer. All right, so do 2 at a time. Make sure you double distribute. All right, homework. I will see you all later. Be good.